Another one bites the dust. Another one. No one has bit the dust. Not yet, anyway. Quite possibly it's going to happen. It probably will happen, but it hasn't happened yet. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But I don't know. Does the Ray movie have a director?
Welcome to Unleashed. And don't forget to join us on Patreon for early access and exclusive content. Here are the guys.
Hey everyone, this is a Rebel Scum podcast. I'm James. Give us a like, subscribe. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe. If you're not new and you're not subscribed, subscribe. Just subscribe. We do podcasts weekly on the channel. We've done over 300 of them for the last 8 years, and we do other videos as well. We try to go live as much as we can. This is not live, but I'm sure you'll all be okay with that for quite some time. Look, Star Wars has had a lot of ups and a lot of downs through its almost 50 years. It's had a lot of ups and a lot of downs, whether it's been with George Lucas or Disney, it doesn't matter. It's had ups and downs. You know, I was around. I love Return of the Jedi. Like when I was a kid, I had the Ewok Village. I had all the toys. Ewoks on Ice, Ice Capades. I love Droids cartoon. I love the Ewoks cartoons. And then when you get older, people are saying, "Oh, I hate Ewoks," and you're like, "What? What? How?" I don't understand. I still don't understand that to this day. But people hate Ewoks. It got too cute. The prequels came out. I lived through the prequels. I was a teenager for the beginning of the prequels and in my 20s for the end of the prequels, and I saw the hate that those movies received from critics and from fans. I saw it with my own eyes and heard it with my own ears, and that was the thing. And then I saw the sequels, and I saw how The Force Awakens was pretty well received, and then Rogue One was really well received, and then all of a sudden everybody hated The Force Awakens, and Last Jedi was, Last Jedi was what Last Jedi was, and Solo came out. So I've seen it all, and we've gone through it all. And one thing that has changed significantly is the director chair of these Star Wars movies, right? We went from George Lucas to Christian. We had those, and then the prequels were obviously all George Lucas, and then he was like, "I can't handle the fans, and this fandom are just the most ridiculous people on earth. I got to sell this thing to Disney for billions of dollars," and he did. And in doing that, we've had J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, Gareth Edwards, sort of Ron Howard-ish, and who else is directed the Star Wars? And J.J. Abrams. That's it. And then the TV show has had a bunch of various people come in for TV to direct. And now we have a whole bunch of movies that have been announced and haven't happened. And we had a year and a half ago, Daisy Ridley come on stage at Star Wars Celebration and be like, "I'm coming back as Rey," and everybody, thunderous applause, which of course there was a thunderous applause. You're at Star Wars Celebration. I've been to Star Wars Celebration. I've been to one, a whole whopping one. And you know what's great about Star Wars Celebration? It is just that, a celebration. Everybody is there for a good time. Everybody is there to cheer. Everybody is super positive. That doesn't work in the real world, obviously, and it doesn't work for critiques either. But no one is there to critique. They're there because it is a celebration, because they love Star Wars. And so they're at Star Wars Celebration to celebrate and to love Star Wars. The end. That's the purpose of Star Wars Celebration. So when Daisy Ridley comes on stage, she gets an applause. When Hayden Christensen comes on stage, he gets an applause. When George Lucas come on stage, he gets an applause. When Kathleen, and it goes on and on and on. Everybody gets an applause at Star Wars Celebration. That's how it works. But she got this applause, and we were making a Rey movie, and I said, I don't care. I did because it was exciting, but I said I don't care because it's not real yet. And now it's been a year and a half. Daisy Ridley has fakely swam the English Channel, and she still hasn't read the script to this Rey movie. She's made a few movies since, at least the swimming one, which was not bad. Go check it out on Disney+. And yet she hasn't even seen a script for the Rey movie, in which she is maybe the lead, because we heard before, after that announcement where it got out that, a script was being written, but they wanted an older Rey, but then they're like, let's go back to this Rey. And if you have Daisy Ridley, use Daisy Ridley, I guess. Why would you recast? Well, the thing is, like, Daisy Ridley in 40 years is going to be the age they wanted. So why not have 40 years worth of story with Daisy Ridley as Rey? And I know our Patreon supporter Ron doesn't believe this movie is going to happen. And if you don't believe this movie is going to happen, you're not alone. But I would say for the sake of this video, for the conversation in this video, let's just go along with it is going to happen. Let's just go. I don't know when. I'm not going to give a date on when, but let's just go along with this is going to happen. If it happens, that'll be a shock. But I'm starting to think that we won't see the director attached, whose name I can't remember at this time, Canadian, direct this movie. I think we'll have a new director. I don't know if we'll get a safe director like Ron Howard. I don't know if it'll be that far along. I don't know who they're going to get, what they're going to get, whatever. Could just be Filoni and Favreau. They could maybe, going forward, they helm all Star Wars films. Who knows? But I don't think so. And then we've had, there's been shakeups in director before, right? The Ron Howard of it all, when he took over for Lord and Miller. Obviously, that was a very big one, a very vocal one. I think that was actually way back. Brock and I were podcasting that night, and we saw the news after we finished taping, because we couldn't go live back then. And this is years ago, obviously. And we saw the news after we finished taping. And then after that, I believe we started a segment called What Up Star Wars, where halfway through the show, we just Googled Star Wars to see if any news broke while we were recording, because it happens so often. But that was a very, very big news piece that hit, and you're like, whoa, okay. It got really out of hand, and you don't know what happened, right? Like Lord and Miller, they've done a great job with their animated stuff for the 21 Jump Streets, but what, did they take it too far with Star Wars? You never know. And so there's a precedent for it in Lucasfilm, and even Gareth Edwards doing Rogue One. You hear that he was kind of pushed aside towards the end. They brought Tony Gilroy in, and I don't know what to believe of that or what to make of that. But when you look at it and you look at Andor, you go, maybe it's probably what ended up happening. And now we got this Rey movie where a year and a half later, still no script. Is there an idea? I don't know. I know people complain, they're like, this should have been Luke's story. And I'm not here to disagree or to argue that point, because maybe it should have been, maybe it shouldn't have been. I don't know. I mean, I know it wasn't in the books, but at the same time, Rey, Luke aged 30 years. So it would have been tough to do, to have the sequels about that specifically. You could argue maybe Luke could have had a different role and whatnot, but I don't think the Jedi Order. I mean, unless he had been doing it for a long time, that's a way to do it. But then this is like the rebuilding, and he couldn't do that with Luke at the age that Mark Hamill was when they made The Force Awakens. So we get this Rey movie, for argument's sake, we're getting it, and it's going to be about that. But a year and a half later, still no script. I'm sure Daisy Ridley knows a story idea or a story that they're doing. I'm sure they might be trying to get Boyega. Maybe they're trying to get Oscar Isaac. Maybe they're trying to get all these actors, and they're having a difficult time with that. I don't know. I don't even know. Oscar Isaac's pretty busy, but I don't know if Boyega is that busy. I think Finn would totally belong in the Rey movie. I know a lot of people think Adam Driver, but I think Adam Driver. I'm not sure if they would. I think the problem is maybe you go to Adam Driver for like a sequel, but in the first one, the problem is unless it's a cameo, if you distract from Rey, I don't know if that works for your first post-sequel trilogy Rey movie. I think that's why you try to avoid Kylo and Adam Driver and all that off the hop. I think later on, I think it would make a lot of sense to go to him, but I think that's the thing. But again, a year and a half in, we haven't got a script. And I like to believe that the director went to Lucasfilm and said, I have an idea for a Rey movie. But I've heard that the way things were operating at Lucasfilm, I think Leslie Headland did something different, but apparently the way things operate at Lucasfilm is that they come to you more than you go to them. I don't know if there's a lot of pitching going on. I don't know, whatever. But so if that's the case, then this was pitched to the director, which means they had this, which makes sense because they had this other script from Lindelof, I believe. They had this other script, and they were like, we want to go in a different direction. Or the director was hired for that script and then said, I want to take this on a different direction. And Kathleen Kennedy agreed with that direction. So they got rid of the former script writers. They got Stephen DeKnight, I think, in to do a new draft. And that could be how it is. And now they're working on this. The thing is, the longer this goes, It's not terrible, but you have your May 2026 movie, which is the Mando and Grogu movie, which is shooting now. Then you have a December 2026 movie, which theoretically could be the Rey movie. Maybe it's the Sean Levy. Maybe they throw the curveball as Sean Levy's movie. I don't know, but that hasn't. Who even knows where he is with that? He's drunk right now. He's got the biggest movie in the world. He's somewhere with Ryan Reynolds on Aviation Gin, just having the time of his life, probably back in Montreal or something. So yeah, so I don't think it's taking, like, I wouldn't bring it up and discuss this, but they announced it at Celebration. Going on, it's going to be 2 years. 2 years this April. They announced this at Celebration, and there's no script yet. So when Daisy Ridley sees the script, is she only going to see the final script? I'm sure there's going to be rewrites after she sees it. Then you've got to cast the script. You've got to get your set prep done for the script. You've got to get your locations for the script. There's a lot to happen after that. So then meeting that December 2026 release date doesn't seem practical enough for that movie to hit it if that's what they want. I mean, I'm sure they could. I'm sure they know what's going on. Obviously they know more than we do. And they know more than a jackass in a Star Wars t-shirt on a YouTube channel would know. But here we are, a year and a half later, diddly squat about this Rey movie. And I'm kind of thinking that maybe, if it keeps going, hey, director, thanks, but no thanks. We're going to go in a different direction with you now. We already did that with the writer. And it was a higher profile writer that they got rid of. Right, Lindelof was lost, and others higher profile than the director they have now. Talent level, who knows, but higher profile for sure. So if you have no qualms kicking that out the door, you're gonna have no qualms kicking this out the door, especially when you got Laura Miller out, you got Edwards out, Patty Jenkins I think was out, but she's back in. But maybe she's who the heck knows. And I can see that, you're like, we need to get this movie going. We need to know the direction. If you can't figure this out, if you can't crack this code, we're going to get somebody else that can. We're going to get somebody else that can. And I'm telling you, there's a lot. There would be a lineup out the door of people that could, except the fandom is so messed up that a lot of directors don't want to deal with this crap. They just don't want into Star Wars because they're afraid they're going to get torched online. And spoiler alert, they're going to get torched online. This director has been so outspoken on certain aspects, even stuff way before she got Star Wars, that she's going to get torched online the minute this thing releases. The minute Rey talks to another woman, she's going to get torched online. It's sexist. So many women talking to each other. That's what's going to happen. And then, she won't want to make a sequel, even if she does this one. But I'm not 100% convinced that she's going to be sticking around to see this thing through. She might get the script to a point, but also at some point, like, is she going to even want to make this movie anymore? Like, there's something going on, because you got it. Like, you don't, like, why announce Daisy Ridley if you don't have a script? And I know the answer, because that's what Lucasfilm does. But that's what frustrates me, is they want you to get hyped, to get excited. It's Star Wars Celebration. Let's celebrate. We really have nothing to celebrate here. But let's pretend we do. Let's pretend we have a Rey movie. We talked to Daisy Ridley. She's in. We have a director who said she wants to do it. She's in. But you don't have anything. You have Daisy Ridley. You have Rey rebuilding the Jedi Order. There might be two other characters in there. There might not be. Maybe Finn wants to be in Daisy Ridley's like, yeah, it'd be great if Finn came back. But don't you know the story? Does Finn fit in the story? And obviously she's going to say she wants, John Boyega back, because they were friendly, and she's not going to put him down. And someone says, do you want John Boyega back? She's going to say, of course I do. And she's not going to say, nah, he's had his time in the sun. This is my time to shine. Again, maybe you don't bring Finn back because you want to keep this Rey-centric. You want to keep it focused on Rey. I think it's weird, given that we know that Finn is Force sensitive, but wouldn't put it past me either. I don't know who you get to direct this. I don't even want to play that game, as long as it's not Tarantino. nothing against Tarantino, but he's a Star Trek fan, not a Star Wars fan. It's complicated situation this Ray movie's been put in, because they're like, we're doing a Ray movie based on nothing, and they did that with the James Mangold thing. I don't think we're getting the Mangold movie at all. I don't think the Mangold movie's happening. I think Indiana Jones cost the company a fortune. It tanked. Honestly, I love Indiana Jones, but it wasn't very good. I mean, in my opinion, subjectively, I was like, oh man, I wasn't even Crystal Skull. I had, even after that one, I was like, that wasn't my favorite, but I had a lot of fun with it. This one, it was like void of joy almost, and I don't know if the way they work, and if I'm repeating myself, I apologize, but the way Lucasfilm works is, Trevorrow, you're out, buddy. You made Book of Henry, it tanked, you're out. And that seems to be how it's working. So I don't think we're going to see Mangold's movie happen, and then if the Ray movie, who knows? I know Ron is right now. I don't think it's going to happen. I know Ron. But we're not talking about that right now. We're going to talk about it possibly happening. But I think you got to get a new director. And I don't think it's going to be James Mangold, obviously, but I think you get a new director. And maybe you find the direction you're going in. And I think you make it a one-off film with the plausibility of making a sequel. I think you make it just one story, beginning, middle, and end, and you leave a little breadcrumbs and you let that progress, and maybe we can go to part 2 if you want. Maybe you make it episode 10. Maybe you don't. I said this on a podcast one. Maybe you don't even number it. And if they make a sequel, then you go back and you call this one episode 10. Maybe you do that. But it's been so long since the announcement and all the outspokenness of the director. I think we're going to see a change in guard, and maybe it'll be quietly, because again, the director is not a household name, right? The one that's attached to the Ray movie. It's not like, let's say Ron Howard, for instance. It's not like they have Ron Howard attached and they quietly get rid of Ron Howard and then they start shooting. You're like, who's that new director? I think they can go ahead and be like, we've decided to change course, and we're getting director X to come in, and we're shooting tomorrow. I think that's how you approach it. I think you keep it quiet until you're ready to shoot, and then you start shooting, and we're good to go. And I don't know if the movie is going to happen. I have high hopes that it will, because I think it has all the makings of what could be I don't know about the best, but the most fun Star Wars movie we've had in the new era, let's say. It could be the most fun of them all. Who knows? It might not be the best of them all. It could be. I mean, just think like you have Rey, who's of an age, who can then train Jedi of a younger age, and you can have older, wiser characters. Like the elements are there. You have to figure out the threat. Why are you telling the story? What is the purpose of it? Why is she starting the order, and who's coming after them? And once you figure all that, I think you can. But it really, for me, it has the foundation to be something that could be very special, could be a lot of fun, and could build off of for more movies that follow Rey, but also maybe even branch out into other directions and keep going. And the one thing that I find the most exciting about it is we're moving forward. We're not going backwards in the timeline anymore. We're going ahead, because the future is so unknown. The past is fun. Don't get me wrong. The past is fun. I like the kind of way that they did with the prequels, where they made the prequels look a little bit more futuristic than the original trilogy, and then you see the decline from Palpatine. I love that. But let's go forward in time, man. Show me the future. Show me where the future of this galaxy lie. Show me that. That's where I want to be. And I have faith that we will see the movie. I don't know when. Daisy really might be in her 60s by the time we get it. So maybe they'll use the Lindelof script. I don't know. But I think it will be a different director. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Want to hear what you guys think. I love that. That's the whole fun of doing these videos, is reading what you guys have to say and engaging in the conversation. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, do it all. And until next time, may the force of others be with you.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.